The Egyptian Revolution of 1919, the birth of national consciousness in the spring of 1919. Egypt rose in defiance. It was a revolution that united Muslims and Christians, rich and poor, men and women, a revolution that planted the seeds of Egyptian national identity. This is the story of the 1919 revolution. Egypt under British occupation since 1882, Egypt had lived under British military occupation. Though Egypt was technically part of the Ottoman Empire, real power lay in the hands of British high commissioners. For decades, Egyptians endured foreign control over their land, economy, and politics. When World War I erupted in 1914, Britain declared Egypt a British protectorate, intensifying their grip. Egyptian resources and manpower were exploited for the British war effort. By 1919, economic hardship, political oppression, and national humiliation had reached a breaking point. The rise of Saad Zaghloul and the Wafd Party. Amid this turmoil emerged Saad Zaghloul, charismatic lawyer and nationalist leader. Zaghloul, along with his colleagues, formed the Wafd Party, presenting Egyptian demands for independence and national self-determination. After the end of World War I, inspired by President Woodrow Wilson's 14 points on self-determination, the Wafd sought to present Egypt's case at the Paris Peace Conference in 1919, but the British refused. When Zaghloul and other Wafd leaders were arrested and exiled to Malta in March 1919, the flames of revolution were ignited. Egypt erupts. The revolution begins March 1919. The arrest of Saad Zaghloul sparked a nationwide uprising. For the first time in modern Egyptian history, students, workers, peasants, intellectuals, and religious leaders all stood side by side, united under the cry, "Long live Egypt." Mass demonstrations filled the streets of Cairo, Alexandria, Tanta, Asut, and across the countryside. The revolution transcended class, religion, and gender. Muslim and Christian Egyptians marched arm in arm. Egyptian women, led by figures like Huda Sharawa, took to the streets, marking their first major political appearance. Peasants attacked British railway lines, telegraph poles, and military convoys. The British responded with brutal force mass arrests, curfews, and shootings. But the harder they tried to suppress the revolution, the stronger the Egyptian resistance became. The power of a national movement, the revolution of 1919, was not just a spontaneous uprising, it was a coordinated national movement. The Wafd Party, operating underground, mobilized Egyptians from all sectors. Religious leaders from Al-Azhar Mosque and Coptic churches called for unity and resistance. Lawyers, teachers, and railway workers organized strikes that paralyzed the country. The revolution demonstrated that Egypt was no longer a passive colony, had become a nation with a collective political consciousness. British concessions and the return of Saad Zaghloul by the summer of 1919. Britain realized that force alone could not quell the Egyptian people. In 1920, Saad Zaghloul was released from exile, returning to Egypt as a national hero. After 2 years of relentless protests, strikes, and diplomatic pressure, Britain issued the unilateral Declaration of Egyptian Independence in February 1922. Though limited and incomplete, Britain retained control over defense, foreign affairs, and the Suez Canal was a significant political achievement. In 1923, Egypt adopted a new constitution, and in 1924, Saad Zaghloul became Egypt's first elected prime minister. The legacy of 1919, the Egyptian Revolution of 1919, was more than just a political event. It was a cultural awakening. It marked the birth of Egyptian nationalism, a movement that transcended political demands and expressed itself through literature, music, public discourse. Icons like Taha Hussein, Ahmed Shawki, and Dam Kulthum rose during this period, shaping Egypt's modern cultural identity, though full independence would not come until after the 1952 revolution. 1919 had proven that the Egyptian people could stand united, demand their rights, and shape their destiny. The 1919 revolution was a revolution of the heart and mind. It was a moment when an entire nation found its voice. The echoes of those chants still resonate in Egypt's streets today. Long live Egypt, long live liberty.